Okay, we are here for a super fun um, class tonight, all about hormones and intimacy. I think probably this is one of the things that I get asked about the most. What do I do for my hormones, for my teenagers' hormones, for my hot flashes? What do I do? Yeah, it's just a big time, frequently asked question that we get. So, a couple of things right off the bat. One, we're not doctors, we're not curing, prescribing, treating. We're just sharing our stories tonight in hopes that it blesses and helps you. Also, hopefully, you have the free Life Steps app because you can go into the resources section and type in hormones, adrenals, thyroid, whatever, and you're going to get a wealth of information and resources there in the Life Steps app. So grab that. There was also a Zoom last night that Suzanne's going to talk to us about in a minute, all about hormones. And so that was by an expert in the subject. And you can see that replay through the Life Steps app. But I want to mention before we start talking about products that our hormones are very much affected by our lifestyle. So obviously all of us want a simple quick fix, and we're going to give you a few of those. But I also want you to know if hormone health is a goal of yours to improve, you're going to need to look at your lifestyle. So that involves things like looking for endocrine disruptors. When we talk about the endocrine system, that's our hormone system, all of our hormones, and there are endocrine disruptors that we often find in our personal care products, if they're not completely chemical free, in our cleaning products, in our laundry, in our candles, in all of the things that we are breathing in and putting on our body. If they're chemicals, then they are affecting our endocrine system. There's a reason why we have a higher rate of infertility, higher rates of PCOS, higher rates of endometriosis, higher rates of irregular menstrual periods, and all kinds of crazy hormone things. And it's because of our environment. So I encourage you to look at that. Thankfully, Young Living has all the chemical-free things, and we can easily switch that out. And there's also a video, I believe, on our YouTube library by Hannah Hodges, where she told her fertility story. And she had struggled with fertility and her hormones. And when she finally switched everything to be chemical free, she saw a big difference in her body's health, and she was actually able to conceive. She believes that there was a very direct correlation there. Also, what we cook in and the plastic that our food is stored in, the food that we're eating is all affecting our hormones. And for a lot of us, our hormones are a wreck, and it's because of our environment. So definitely take the tips that we're going to give you tonight, but also if you're serious about this, look at your entire lifestyle. So Suzanne, we would love to hear your story.
All right, I'm going to share the recipe at the end. I was so excited last night to get this recipe. But the first oil that I use is Endoflex. This oil goes on my neck right here every morning, and also on the back right above the kidneys, because there are adrenal glands there. It smells so good. It has spearmint, sage, geranium, myrtle, and German chamomile, as well as nutmeg in it. And sesame seed oil is the carrier oil. All of those have a purpose in supporting our endocrine system. And this information that I'm telling you about, or reading to you, is on the Life Steps app. So that very basic app, all this is here. But I'm going to share with you about the endocrine system briefly. Unless you have diabetes or a thyroid condition, you may not know what the system is, but it's crucial for your overall health. The endocrine system is a network of glands throughout the body that make hormones: insulin, thyroid hormone, cortisol, sex hormones, and more. The hormones made in the endocrine system are responsible for every cell, organ, and function in the body. It's huge. The endocrine system is made up of various glands. The hypothalamus, pituitary, and pineal gland are in your brain. The thyroid and parathyroid are right there in the front of your neck. And kind of like where that V, you can feel that. And the adrenals are on top of the kidneys. And the pancreas is behind your stomach. So Endoflex supports all of these in some way. While all these glands are important, the thyroid and the adrenals are often the most out of balance. So we have energy levels, heart and breathing rates are affected, body temperature is affected, weight, mood and emotions, and even menstrual cycles are affected by these systems. I told you what were in those, and they suggest, I was rolling it on once a day, but in my research, it says to do it twice, do it in the morning and at night. So I like that. The other oil I'm going to talk about is Progessence Plus, and you can see I've got a roller top on it, just like the other one. And I roll this one right here on the inside of my arm, just 2 or 3 passes on both sides. And these oils are so pure that they absorb in a matter of minutes. As soon as I get out of the shower, I put these on before I put any other clothes on, and in just a very short time, like brush my teeth, and it's already absorbed into my skin, gone to do its good thing. So I'm going to tell you about Progessence Plus. It smells so good. My granddaughters love the smell of both of those together. Granny, you smell so good. But this Progessence Plus keeps me from pinching people's heads off. Yeah, that's a good thing. It is a mood lifter and a stabilizer, but it also contains USP grade super micronized progesterone from wild yams. It's blended with essential oils and vitamin E to help help women find balance the way nature wanted us to. The unique formula maximizes the effects of the natural progesterone so that it absorbs quickly through the skin. Wild yams, which is part of what this is made up of, are said to normalize blood sugar levels, combat weight gain, and hair loss, and reduce the occurrence of hormonal headaches. And as I'm thinking, wow, that sounds really familiar, especially with women going through menopause. Progessence Plus also promotes restfulness and sleep. It has the following oils: sacred frankincense, bergamot, cedarwood, peppermint, and clove. Amazing, amazing. And what I found out last night, I was so tickled to listen till the end of the broadcast. She gave a recipe for women in menopause. And of course, I've already passed that, but I still use a Progessence Plus every day. And the recipe is 1 bottle of the Progessence Plus, a 5 milliliter bottle of sclerescence, and a 5 milliliter Idaho Blue Spruce. And you pour all those into a 2-ounce bottle and then top it off with a carrier oil. So I was really thrilled to get that. So I'm anxious to try to add sclerescence. I already love Idaho Blue Spruce. I really like that. So I'm excited to add the bottle of sclerescence to that and see how much better I can feel. I don't know how much better I can feel. But one of the things about the progesterone too, it's safe for anybody who is postmenopausal. It's safe for young ladies 12 years of age and older. It's safe in the fact that you don't have to, I know with some of the xenoestrogens, hormone patches, I'll go with that one. You have to not put it on the area for a while. You don't have to worry about this. I've applied this to my arms forever. If I notice any dryness, vaginal dryness, I'll add a little extra of this to my arms, and that seems to help. So who knows, but it works.
I love that. Thank you, Suzanne. Talking about it working, I have also heard people say that if you are currently on birth control and you do not want to conceive, then don't take Progestins Plus because it can sometimes even negate the effect of the birth control. And there are lots of Progestins Plus babies out there. So it is, I appreciated you saying that it is for the whole spectrum of females out there. I personally take Progestins Plus on days 16 to 26 of my cycle. My doctor wanted me to take a progesterone supplement on those days to target a certain hormonal need. And so I've just switched over to Progestins Plus, and it has really affected in a good way my cycle. So thank you for all that. I love that recipe. Okay, Lisa Benham, share with us your story.
Okay, so I don't have all the details like Suzanne, but I'm just going to share my story because this is really where my journey with Young Living began, because it's not where it started initially, but it's what really kept me with Young Living, because it literally changed my life. So when I first started with the oils, I had hormonal imbalance for many years. And I struggled with chronic fatigue. I struggled with sleep. I struggled with low libido, weight gain, that I shouldn't have been gaining weight, and just different things. I had a lot of struggles with my hormones. And about 5 years prior to starting with the oils, I actually was on I started on hormone replacement, which helped, but they were never able to get me regulated. I would have to go in. Most women, they would tell me, would come in every 12 weeks. Well, I tried that and it didn't work for me. And so they backed me up to 11, then to 10, then 9. I had to go every 8 weeks, have my labs drawn, and then they would never know what kind of dose they were going to have to give me because it was never the same. And they kind of teasingly told me, you're just not normal. But I mean, they could never get me leveled out. They couldn't get my hormones balanced. And every time I would go, it would be something different. And they actually got my testosterone levels up to like 300, which I've learned now was really crazy. But the hormone replacement, it wasn't the synthetic, it was the natural. I can't think of the word for it right now, but it helped. It helped me at least be able to function, because prior to that, I couldn't function. I just literally couldn't function. And so when I'd been on it about 4 or 5 years, I started having problems then with the hormone replacement too. And because I wasn't balanced, there were times that I couldn't even make it 8 weeks, and I would just feel like I hit a brick wall. I'd be going along okay, and then just all of a sudden one day I was like at complete loss. I just literally could not function. And I would be like, what is happening? And they would say, well, different things, stress or not getting enough sleep, or different things can cause those levels to be different and cause you to use more of what we're giving you up. And so then your body depletes it, and you don't have enough. So it was just a battle just to stay balanced. So it got to the point where they had me so like messed up that I got scared, and I went back to my gynecologist because I thought, this is just not working anymore. And I went back to my gynecologist and I asked them, what can we do? And so they started trying to work with me, and she said, I do not want you to go back and get hormone replacement again. And I said, I'll tell you, I have to have testosterone. If I don't have testosterone, I can't function because I'm at rock bottom on that. And she said, well, we can get you some compounded, that's the word I was looking for, compounded testosterone. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, I'm going to do this. I said, I've just started using essential oils and I'm learning about them. And I said, I'm going to do some research and see if I can use those for my hormones before I do anything. But I said, if that doesn't work, and if, whatever you do for me doesn't work, I said, then I'm going to have to go back to the hormone replacement, because at least part of the time I was having better days than not at all. So anyway, I started with the research in the oils. And so I just really dug in. The first thing that I learned before I actually found these oils, I went to a meeting that I always tease Shannon I was tricked into going to. and I had questions for her about what to use for my hormones, but it was actually a business meeting that night. Why I'm doing the business now. But anyway, the one question that my hair is going crazy. The one question that she answered for me was to drink the Ningxia Red. So this was the first thing I started doing. I started drinking the Ningxia. Tastes delicious, full of antioxidants, has the wolfberry in it, just lots of good nutritional value. So I started with that. Now this is going to drive me crazy. Okay. So I started with the Ningxia. Well, as I was drinking the Ningxia, then I decided, I want to look at what oils can help. And so I did some research. So I came up with 3 oils, and I don't have all the technical reasons for why these 3 oils, but I can just tell you kind of what they do. So clary sage, I did have something I printed out that kind of told a little bit about it, but clary sage and thyme oil and then sandalwood were the 3 oils that I came up with. And the clary sage helps to balance estrogen levels because it has natural phytoestrogens. And then the sandalwood actually is what I use to balance my testosterone and to bring my testosterone levels up. And the thyme oil improves progesterone production. So those were the 3 things that I was getting with the hormone replacement. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to try it because I don't know what else to do. And then I found that the evening primrose oil, this is not something from Young Living, I got this on Amazon, but the evening primrose oil is good. It has omega, I think it's the omega-6 fatty stuff in it, whatever it's called. Yeah, omega-6 fatty acids, such as LA and GLA, which is a type of omega-6 that you want to get in your diet. So I started mixing. I just made it up, my own mixture. I did equal drops of these 3 oils, and I put them in like a 2-ounce bottle. And then I topped it off with a little bit of the evening primrose oil. I started rubbing that like on the inside of my arms and like in my inner thighs. And I did that every morning and every night. Well, I never went back for hormone replacement again. So I literally was able to, with the Ningxia, those three oils and the evening primrose, I was able to get things pretty well under control. Then I learned about, which Suzanne already talked about, the Endoflex for your adrenals. And then I also started taking Thyromin for my thyroid because I did have hypothyroidism as well. So the Endoflex is good for your thyroid, and then the Thyromin, of course. And then later, I'm going to tell about this one too, because this one is amazing. This is called Endogize. And I actually did a hormone class for people, and I learned about this as I was preparing for that hormone class. It's funny what you learn when you're preparing for to teach somebody else and you find out something you don't know. But I started taking this stuff, and I'm telling you what, the energy levels went through the roof. I was taking, it says to take 2. It says take one capsule 2 times daily and use it for 4 weeks and then discontinue it for 2 weeks. And I started taking 2, and when I started out, I started taking 2 in the evening, and I thought, oh, that's not going to work. I couldn't sleep. It was like I had the jitters, and I was like, oh, can't do that. So then I started taking 2 in the morning. Well, I was just like bug-eyed like all day long. So I'm like, okay, that's too much for me. So I had to back it down to like 1. And so I take 1 Endogize for 4 weeks in the morning, and then I take 2 weeks off. So long story short, last month or 2 months ago, I went and had a complete blood panel done. And of course, I use oils for everything. I haven't taken any medications. I don't take over-the-counter medications, nothing. And my body is in complete homeostasis. So I have everything in my body is balanced just from using the oils and the supplements that Young Living has. So it's definitely been a life changer for me. And I have changed my diet on top of that. You know, your gut health is super important. So, you know, I don't eat a lot of gluten, sugar, and dairy. But other than that, you know, my energy levels I feel good all the time now. So that's my story.
Lisa, that is a life-changing story. And I feel like you need to just shout it from the roof every single day, because so many people are living in bondage to their hormones. And you broke the mold, and you figured out how to break the mold, and you've got a powerful testimony. That's exciting. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Lisa.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ashley. Sorry, accidentally muted myself too fast. Ashley's going to talk about the other end of the spectrum for hormones for teenagers and a certain recipe she's using. And then I'm going to finish up with a couple of tips for intimacy. So stay tuned.
Ooh, awesome. Yes. So mine is preteens and teenagers. And if you've raised them, you understand. And if you're going through it, just hold on tight. My son actually turns 12 tomorrow. So about, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, he's always been sensitive and emotional, but he started just crying at the drop of a hat. Like, you look at him weird and you're like, what's wrong? And he would just like break down crying. I was like, oh my word, I am not prepared for hormone and teenage boys. I'm not ready. And then my daughter is 8, and she's like super fierce and gets mad at like the drop of a hat. And I was like, I am not prepared. So I started researching and looking, and actually Suzanne shared some information with me, and got the ball kind of rolling. And so I made a roller bottle, and it's been talked about already, EndoFlex. It's a fantastic oil. If you don't have it in your arsenal, you absolutely need to. So that has a lot of wonderful, wonderful benefits across the spectrum, no matter your age or gender, when it comes to hormones and emotions. So with my son, I made a roller bottle, and it has EndoFlex, Mr., and Sacred Mountain. And I'm gonna be honest, Mr. and Sacred Mountain, they're not like the $20 oils. I mean, they're definitely a little bit more. They are absolutely worth it, completely worth it. We will never run out of those oils. I use 20 drops of each one in a 10 milliliter roller bottle, and then I fill the rest with a carrier oil, either coconut oil or the V6 one that Young Living sells. And then my son applies it every morning and every night. And it took, a few days, and then we could start to see a difference. But the biggest thing that he personally noticed was he said he was sleeping better. And that wasn't actually one of the benefits listed when I started researching was better sleep. That wasn't one of the things. But I thought, when your body is in alignment, when it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, when your hormones are under control, yes, you're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better. And so he actually was calling it his sleepy oil because it helped him have such a good night's sleep. So we realized it was working when he ran out. His roller bottle ran out and he was going somewhere for the weekend. And he was like, I don't have my roller bottle. I was like, you'll be fine. It's just one night. You'll be okay. I'll make it this weekend and give it back to you. And he came back and he was like, you cannot let me run out again. And I was like, okay, got it. So, I mean, he could tell a difference in the way that he felt. And I could see, I mean, he's still my sensitive, lovable child. That's never going to change. But I could see a difference in, I guess, the extreme response when it came to those times. And then I made one for my daughter. And the recipe that I found called for, again, Endoflex and Harmony and Sacred Mountain. I did not have Harmony at the time, so I actually made hers with Endoflex, Sacred Mountain, Joy, and White Angelica. And she really enjoys it. We use other oils as well to help with angers and things like that. But as far as hormones go and young girl, that's the blend that we have found that works for us. Personally, I like Progestins Plus. So when the time comes, my daughter will also use that. And then I had one that I made for my toddler because I'm raising teenagers and toddlers and they're kind of the same. They throw fits and cry and stomp their feet when they don't get their way. So it's just like bigger versions. So I made a toddler version as well, which has Endoflex and Sacred Mountain. So if you haven't noticed, Sacred Mountain is also a good one to have on hand. It's definitely, those two are staples when it comes to hormones and emotions with kids. And so the toddler one is Endoflex, Grounding, and Sacred Mountain. And that is a big deal. And again, same, I do the same dilution for my toddler that I do for my preteen. I do 20 drops of each oil in a 10 milliliter roller bottle and fill the rest with a carrier oil. They do apply it. My older kids apply it twice a day. My younger boys usually just once a day. So that's what we have found personally works. And I've given that recipe or made those bottles for a handful of people. And every single one of them have noticed a huge difference in their teenagers. The key though is consistent use. You can't, any of these oils that you're using, that you're experimenting with, you can't use them once or twice and go, well, that didn't work, and be done. Like, it's, especially when we're talking hormones and we're talking emotions, you know, when you're using a certain oil, like Digest or peppermint, a lot of those can be in a very quick, oh, wow, I feel that. When you're dealing with your hormones and emotions and things like that, that's going to take time. I mean, it took time to get to where you're at. It's going to take time to really help your body function the way it's supposed to. So I tell people it's all about consistency. You have to use it every single day. You have to get up in the morning and put it on, and before you go to bed, you have to put it on, and you'll see a huge difference in your kids.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am loving this. Are you guys catching the themes? But yet we've covered all age groups here. But there are answers, whatever stage of life you're in or whatever stage of life your friends are in, there are answers. And this has been a powerful call. So we're going to end the call with a few tips for improving intimacy. And again, this might not be your season of life or something that you are impacted by, but I hope that you will still listen because you have friends that are impacted by this and they need answers. This is a very real part of our adult existence. And it's something that God ordained and that is beautiful within the boundaries that He has set. But because of that, I can tell you as a pastor's wife, and I'm going to speak from my faith perspective, we're going to go there just for a minute, that the enemy comes after married couples' sex lives. Okay. And there are a lot of Christian couples, married couples that have sexless marriages for all kinds of reasons. and that is not how God designed it. So there's a spiritual component here. There's a need for potentially counseling if that is an area that is not okay in your life. And I'm validating that, and I'm letting you know if it is, you're not alone, but there is hope. So some of the things are somewhat physical or related to libido, which we have talked a lot about hormone answers tonight that can help you improve libido. There are also a lot of recipes for romantic diffuser recipes, etc., like in the Life Steps app. So I encourage you to check that out. Oils have been known since the beginning of time to be aphrodisiac, some of them more so than others. So this is not a new concept to introduce aromas into the bedroom. So I'm just going to mention 3 products tonight that can help with intimacy if that is a goal of yours. And the first one is an oil called Ylang Ylang. It's Ylang, Ylang Ylang. And it comes from a farm in Ecuador. They tell the story that when they take people to this farm on a tour, a lot of times couples get lost in the ylang ylang field and they don't see or hear from them for a while. It is a very powerful aphrodisiac oil. Okay, so it's a flower. It's very flowery. You can diffuse it if you would like. I like to wear it as a perfume. And you could also sprinkle your sheets with it, put it in a spray bottle with some water and spray your pillow and your sheets to help be in the mood if you wanted to. So this is a fun one to have with especially Valentine's Day coming up. Ylang Ylang. Okay, the next one I'm going to bring up. My face was pink when we started this. It's not like blushing because of the topic. I promise. The lighting in here is making my face look pink. Okay, the next oil is cypress. And cypress is valuable for the cardiovascular system. And as it relates to intimacy, it can improve blood flow. So a tip with cypress, whether you are the male or the female, is you could take this and apply it to your inner thigh area minutes or hours before you plan to be intimate, and cypress can help with the experience. Okay, one last one that I want to bring up is the Sensation massage oil. Now there's also a Sensation oil and there's a Sensation bath gel. I follow a girl on Instagram who's saying that a lot of women use the Sensation bath gel in the shower and report over time an increase in libido. So there's another little tip for you. I've not used the shower gel, but as we age as women, there can be an increased amount of dryness in that area. Okay, that just happens. This is your life-saving answer, is the Sensation massage oil. You just squirt it wherever you're dry. A little goes a long way, and it will improve the entire experience. Or if you're sensitive, some people experience pain, and that's not normal. You can get help for that if and when it's needed. But the Sensation massage oil can improve and help with all of those issues. There could be a little bit of warmth that comes with it, but it is otherwise very gentle and extremely helpful. So those are my tips for intimacy. And I hope that you found that to be valuable. So this entire call was incredible. I have a ton of notes, a ton of recipes of things that I want to try. I hope that you found it to be helpful as well. Let me stop the recording and then we will chat for just a second.